Hello, hello, beautiful people. We are live and direct from Tortola in the beautiful British Virgin Islands. It is Father's Day. A happy Father's Day to each and every father that is out there, not only locally, but across the region, and just anyone who's a father and watching today. We are delighted, I am delighted to be joined by 4 of the BVI's finest. Of course, that adds 1, so that's 5, including myself, fathers of different demographics. If you didn't know, fathers are forever, and today we have a very honest conversation, really chronicling the journey of us fathers, where we've been and where we're going. We often hear a lot, viewers, about absence, but today this conversation is strictly about presence. Present fathers in the 21st century. We're raising a generation of greatness. Now let's go meet the guys. Hey beautiful people, as promised, I am joined by 4 amazing gentlemen. Today we are celebrating fatherhood. Beginning to my right, we have the one and only Kevin Fahie, the manager of Caribbean Sellers. He is a father of 2 girls. To his right, we have Shakeem Smith, who is a real estate agent and a landscaper. Shakeem is the father to a beautiful 10-month baby girl. To my left, I have brothers Flemon Lewis, who is a retired law enforcement and executive protection over in the U.S. Virgin Islands. Welcome to the BVI.
Thank you.
Absolutely. And his amazing brother next to us, we know him as Rhodni Skelton. Today he's not playing softball. Today he's not the director of the BVI Tourist Board. Today he is a father. And he is a father of a boy and girl. Gentlemen, welcome to the man cave. They call it the rum bar at Loose Mongoose.
Thank you.
Thank you.
To fatherhood.
Hey, to fatherhood.
Fatherhood.
So viewers, fathers are forever. I want you guys to remember that. Do not ever forget that while we have some may criticize us, we are forever. Fathers are forever. Now, allow me to introduce myself. I'm Ronn Grant, and I am the father to a 15-month-old boy. So, Shakeem, you and I are new to this, right? Let me just ask you, how are you getting through this very initial stages? Waking up and the diaper changes, what is it like?
Ain't as bad as I think it was. Okay. I thought it would have been, how people would talk, I thought it would have been late. But it was good. It was good. She other than she's not staying still. Ain't ever want to listen. It good.
Okay, got you. Got you. Well, congratulations. Kevin, Rhodni, and Flemon, your children are much older. Kevin, tell us the age of your daughters.
So I have a 10-year-old daughter and a 2-year-old daughter.
Okay, and then Flemon, you have twin boys. They're 19.
19.
And then your girl is how old?
25.
All right, Rhodni, what about you?
My daughter is 20 and my son is 14.
Okay, so let me start with you gentlemen. What has the journey been like for fatherhood to you? Because you now have teenagers who are either working or in college. It gets complicated, I'm assuming, as the years go by. What has the journey been like for you?
The journey has been, for me, very challenging. Okay. I think it's very rewarding when you see your children get to a certain plateau, graduate from high school, go into college, my daughter graduated from college, being able to see them achieve something. I guess it gives me, that prouding moment as a father to watch my child that I helped create achieve something in life that's very memorable. So that my journey has been challenging but rewarding, in a sense.
What about you, Rhodni?
I think for me, being a father has been defining. People on the outside, they look at me either as great, like you mentioned, great softball player, great baseball player, fun dude. I'm assuming, hopefully, I'm a fun dude to be around. Person who's well versed in tourism. But that's the outside looking in, and I think. For me, on the inside looking out, it's who am I as a father?
And who are you to them?
To them. And so my whole life really is, if I didn't have my kids, I didn't need to be deputy director, I didn't need to be anything. I can just give me enough money that I can buy my friends a drink and pay my bills. But when you have these kids around, then your life becomes a lot about them. It's been challenging. They mentioned father-daughter relationships are often very unique. And everybody who knows me, who my daughter is in the BVI, Tasia, and we have had our ups and downs. I tell them there's no other woman on this planet can make me cry. That young lady, that 20-year-old young lady who is my splitting image, she's probably the only female. That's my heart, that's everything. My son, on the other hand, That's my backbone. That's my strength. And a lot of times you want to project. Father-son relationship is different, and so you want to project on him. Hey, be strong. He had his arm recently broken. We in the hospital, and I'm there like I'm as soft as his mother on the inside. Can't show it on the outside. I'm watching him getting them injections, and they're fixing his hand, and it's like, yo, you gonna be all right? Inside, I'm like, are you going to be all right? So it's my life in a lot of ways defined by.
I got you. And Kevin, you are a girl dad as well. Tell us about what's that been like.
It's been good, you know. Having kids definitely give you a purpose in life. You know, we go through life, and a lot of us we make mistakes through life and stuff like that. But when you see your very first child for the first time, everything in life start making sense, right? Everything, you start putting different things in place now, because it's no more about you. You know, your parents tell you a lot of different things. But when you see it or you hold that child for the very first time, everything in life becomes real. You forget about everything else. Your goal now is to make sure that that individual have the life you never have, right? So you start walking, you start doing different things, your focus, everything changes. So having my daughters gave me a purpose in life. It made me work harder. It made me want to show them a wall I never got growing up. So, I mean, I know I wouldn't be where I'm at in life today and as focused as I am in life if I didn't have my kids.
And I'm getting that from both, and I'm sure it's a sentiment of all of us, but I got that specifically from yourself and Rhodni, motivation.
Yeah.
Got you. Shakeem, I want to talk about, of course, you're new into it. Would you say that for the past 10 months, having your daughter has changed you in any way?
Yeah, man, a lot. I watch life different. I get more with ease up on doing something, I'm more, give more of my time. And right now, like, I just stay home and watch her. You know? She don't go to daycare right now. Okay. So in the day I do, make the sacrifice and stay home with her from 8 o'clock in the morning, 4, 5 o'clock, 6, 7, you know, all depends. I had to watch her, change, pamper, bathe, everything, feed her, everything.
Amazing.
Yeah.
Kevin, I want to ask a question. And this question I'll give you gentlemen an opportunity to answer too, because there are two men who have been absolutely instrumental in my life. That is my grandfather, Benjamin Grant, and my dad, Dr. Spencer Grant. And just the way I observe these two men work so hard. Some would say we have men who are too busy and always working, but I understand now more than ever the opportunity to be able to provide. And sometimes the absence is there, but that doesn't mean that the love is any different, okay? So I want to ask you, Kevin, I will start with you. Has your father or father figure in your life impacted you positively or perhaps negatively in any way regarding how you now parent?
Yeah. It impacted me a lot because my dad wasn't there growing up. You know, it was really my mother. My mother did everything for me. And I always said, the day when I ever get a child, I'm going to do everything my father never did. You know, I know oftentimes the story never pans out that way, right? It pans out in a negative light. But I took that onus on myself that I refuse to let that situation define me. And I instead channel that energy inside of me. So when I got the chance to be a dad one day, I would use all of that, what I learned growing up, to make sure I showed my child a different light from what I got growing up.
Powerful. Shakeem, your father figure or father, has that impacted you in any way? Anything you want to do or want to do differently?
To be honest, I feel that's why the reason why I even get to come here is the reason, like what he said, check, like my mother was there for me all the way, check. Anytime I said if I ever get a child, boy or girl, like I can be there straight through, you know what I mean? So that's why it look how I look, like I did with my daughter, because the love there, like my love there for she, check, you know what I mean? So
you fellas essentially learned from your fathers, in all honesty, perhaps what not to do.
Yeah.
Okay. Good. All right. Cool. All right, gentlemen. Anything that you took away from your parentage, your father figures?
Sure. My father was in the home. My mother, my father. So I took some of the negatives and positives from my dad. The positives I took from my dad was he was a hard worker. He was a hustler, and he have a strong conviction. He's still alive. He have a strong conviction in what he believes in, and I took those traits. On the other hand, like I was into sports, I was into martial arts, I was into riding bikes, and my father would never come. You know, my mother never came either. You know, so I grew that type of inner strength to persevere regardless. You know, so now that I'm a father of 2 boys, and even my daughter, you know, one of my sons, they're twins. He's a competitor. He's an athlete, and I go to all his games because I want when he look up in the stands, his dad is there, you know, cheering him on. His mom is there too. And I don't always want my children to say, well, my mom was here more than my father. You know, I always wanted to share that responsibility because my dad didn't do it for me. He didn't teach me how to ride a bike. He didn't even teach me how to drive a car. My first car I bought. So, you know, that gave me that inner strength, you know, to push and pull back and shine that light to my kids.
Okay, well, guys, we're going to take a quick commercial break, but we'll be right back and we're going to continue the conversation because I said fathers are forever.
Yo, everything good, Dad?
Aye. This thing got me one way, Daddy.
What you mean?
Ever since I hook up with this thing, can't eat, I can't sleep. This is the first thing I touch it when I reach home.
What you really? Hey, this ain't like you, you know.
Dad, this thing got me staying home, keeping out of trouble me.
Wow. What your name is?
Shit, I talking about my CCT life.
Don't worry about missing your favorite series, sports, news, and local programming. Come to CCT today and sign up for CCT Live to access over 80 channels. CCT Live. Bring it home.
1 month free trial turn into 5. 5 months turn into, well, you know I hustle. I watching ball. I been watching football. Dad, Nickelodeon, Paw Patrol. I am hooked. Hook, I tell you.
Viewers, welcome back. You are watching Fathers Are Forever, a 284 CCT special, of course. Father's Day. We're celebrating fatherhood with literally some of the best of the Virgin Islands. And I'm not just saying that because I'm a part of the panel. It's the truth, okay? Rodney, before we went to the commercial break, we were talking about our fathers and father figures and how they impacted us. Tell us about your impact.
I grew up in St. Croix, so didn't grow up in the BVI where I live now. And so physically, I guess, you know, my father wasn't there. It's in a time when we didn't have, I know some folks might know that there was a time we didn't have cell phones. And sometimes you had to collect calls and things of that nature. So I didn't get to grow up with my dad in the house. I did spend a lot of time over here in the summers. And even then, you know, my father was the head of Electricity Corporation and was just a busy guy. And I think, you know, going back to even my grandfather who started Skelton Concrete and all of that stuff, the crusher and everything, these men worked hard. And for them, I think it was provide. And if I am providing, then my job is complete. So I think for me, growing up in St. Croix, you know, hearing my classmates refer to my mother as Miss Skelton, not knowing my mother is not Miss Skelton, my mother is Missy Sanderson, you know, and it had an impact on me. I must say growing up, it was a little challenging not having a father around when everybody else had their father around. And so for me, the impact on me, it wasn't necessarily a negative one. It is one where I want to be in my kids' lives emotionally. I want to have that connection, that connect more than just provide. Surprisingly, in the early days, and I was a young cat, I had my daughter, I was 22, 23. I was in the same mood. So long as I got the Pampers in the house, my kid's mom, Tamisha, she better be okay. So long as you had the info mill, what was the thing you tell me, info mill or something? We didn't have similar. I didn't use similar. ISO mill.
It's a different name.
So long as I'm paying the rent and the stuff is here, I good.
Like your job was done.
And I was out with the boys and we were hanging out and doing what young boys at 22, 23 do as I got older. And I realized, okay, ain't just about that. The mom and I separated. And okay, so it's even more imperative now for me, because they ain't just in my house where I could come home and see them. No, they living with their mom. And then it hit me. And then, okay, it's more than just provide. It is being in their life. I want to be to every single thing that they have. Discipline. I heard my young brother here talk about changing Pampers, and you know, I like to tell my daughter, I did the old school, suck snot out the nose when the little dropper thing ain't pulling that snot out enough, and they and the only way to get it out, and it creeps me out now, but I did it when I had to do it. And so for me, that's the impact of my grandfather, my father, just being more than just provide. And so I don't know what cameraman or whatever, but any of the young guys that are out there, man, make sure you in these kids' lives. Like, spend time, even if you don't like soccer, even if you don't understand cricket or ballet, or your son wants to play the flute, like, just be there. Just physically be there when they're finished. Give you that nice little hug and you move on. So for me, there's a little bit of that's my impact of my father not being physically there, or my father just being provider.
At your brother, tell us why.
Because even if you don't like the mom.
I told her, I ain't gonna say that way. Kids' mom, we don't see eye to eye. Kids' mom, we don't see eye to eye.
That's a reality.
Oh my goodness. It's the absolute truth, and I'm glad that you brought that up, because Rodney alluded to it, but I want to talk about co-parenting and the dynamics of that, and how sometimes it's just a challenge for some of us men. Kevin, tell us about your experience with co-parenting.
I mean, I've had some struggles with it in the beginning, because my first daughter, we were actually married. So it was easier in the beginning, but then when we got divorced, everything became hectic. But for a very brief time, I must say, because we always had one common goal, and it was our daughter. And, early on, we were able to put our differences aside to make sure that she was okay. With my second daughter, it was a little more challenging in the beginning, but, I'm glad that I could sit here today and say, that we actually have a strong relationship now, co-parenting. And you actually see the difference in your child life, right? Because, I always tell people, sometimes you may be in a relationship and you're not really in a relationship, and you think, man, I still here with her because of the child. But a lot of people don't understand that. The child know you're not happy. There's times where the child know you're not happy, and you're actually doing more harm to that child staying in that relationship, because that child is seeing that, than actually separating and then being able to give that child the love and all the attention that child needs. And I think sometimes, we get confused, I hear because of my child. But no, you have to fix you as the individual first. You as the individual have to be happy. If you are not happy, you cannot translate that down to your children. And I want people to understand that it all starts with you as the individual. You can't want to do stuff for your children if you yourself is not at a solid foundation and you're happy.
Powerful.
I must say, I commend Kevin. That's another one of my brothers, by the way. But I always commend, I look at him from afar. He don't know, he hearing it now. And just the whole co-parenting. And I see that, he has 2 kids, 2 different kids' moms. You have a wife now. And for the most part, from what I see from the outside, everybody kind of gets along. And that's something that I wish I could foster within my own. So just a little commendation to Kevin, man. Because it should really, the focus should be about the kids. We don't have to be the best of friends, but we have to be able to communicate and be healthy. Be healthy.
So, Flemon, I want to talk about safety and security and protection. Okay. All right. So there is this nature, this undying nature, when you have a girl or boy, to protect your offspring, to protect your family, or your wives, or other halves, which you work in protection. You worked, you're retired now, in law enforcement and executive protection. Tell me about the executive protection of your children and your family. How did that?
Well, that's a really interesting point because, when you're working in a field and you're dealing with a negative element, you want to keep your family separated from that. So social media, as we know, I see a lot of people putting their business, their family, their children on social media. And depending on your profession, you have to be careful because, things can go left quickly.
Very true.
And to have your children or your wife or your girlfriend exposed to individuals that don't care, you'll have some sleepless nights. So as a father, you look at the bear cubs and the bears and how they protect their children, their cubs. You want to have that same mind frame in order to give them good guidance, words of wisdom, but keep your fingers on what they're doing. And for as a man, you got to know who your children running with, because that's important. Because we all know your friends can dictate what happens tomorrow or tonight or later. Your friends who you're riding in the car with, we see in St. Thomas, we see it every week. We riding in the car. I got a illegal weapon. He don't know it's his car.
I just happen to be riding with you.
And you have now constructive possession. He's gonna get arrested, and he don't know I had a weapon. So your friends, knowing who your children is around, their friends is important. Keeping your finger on the pulse and intervening when you have to as a father. And that's what I brought to my family structure, being able to know what's going on at all times. And particularly with my daughter too. We had that kind of conversation off. You brothers have daughters. I mean, it's just a bigger challenge. Bigger challenge.
Now that you say that, Shaq, do you ever feel an added pressure because you have a girl child?
Yeah, my son. Yeah. I'll just say, I got a beautiful little girl, a pretty little girl, red. She got nice hair. So when she get older now, I got to talk to her. I am man now. We're young and coming up. I get one pretty red skin girl too, you know what I mean? But at the same time, I got to let her know. Just show her how life is, check. Just show her how life is. And yeah. And then she got to decide for her own self to go from there, check. Awesome. Yeah.
I want to segue to something because we talk about some of the challenges in fatherhood. We talk about the journey, but there's some really proud moments. There's some really, really proud moments. For me, the actual day when my wife and I received our blessing was perhaps the most proudest moment. Since then, it's been walking, it's been talking, and recently, Kent, my father's a musician, and he literally shows him just about everything. And at 15 months, the kid knows how to play a harmonica. And when I saw it in person, I was like, oh, I was so excited. Just excitement, bursting with excitement, because I think we need to be able to, just like we talk about the challenges, just like we talk about the tough moments in maneuvering, take time to celebrate those moments, the birthdays, the moments that really make us pause. Imagine, you talk about going to the games and the recitals. Those are the moments that I think we should really essentially, as fathers, try our best to pay more attention to. So I want to give you guys an opportunity to share a proud moment so far in the journey.
So far, I got a lot of proud moments. When the day she born, yeah, I tell myself, I have father, my son. I tell you, like, I always want to be a father, but like, when I read it to say, I got somebody that can call me daddy. And come back, I'd be harassing her right now, and I'd be talking to her, trying to get to say that, and the first thing I know she say, well, no, that's what I hear. I hear she say to me, check, and it like, when my father, when I call him daddy, and like, it's like, I know I call him daddy because I know this is a man I gotta look up to. This is a man I gotta respect. You know what I mean? Love and all of that, and like to know now I got a little girl now. God tell me that, so now I know she got respect. So I gotta not present myself in a way that she gotta be respectful, loving, and all of that, you know? Yeah.
Kevin, proudest moment so far? Or some moments?
Oh yeah, because there's a lot. I think one of the moments is my eldest daughter, she into dancing and stuff like that, and we knew she was into dancing because my daughter would go on YouTube and watch dance segments, and she would keep rewind it, learn that move, rewind it, and she will do a whole dance session off of a YouTube video that she watched. And he was like, okay, we need to get her into some really constructive dancing. And just seeing her when she do that, especially after recitals, and she come and she hug you, because you turn out to be their hero, right? And when you see your child come to you with that smile and you get that hug, everything melts, right? But one of my biggest, I would say, like, things that made me proud is my eldest daughter, she has another sister as well. And I think her and my younger daughter are probably about 8 months apart, somewhere like that. And she have her two sisters on separate sides. But these two little girls don't even know that. Because my eldest, she tells, that's your sister, that's your sister. And it's just seeing the three of them always playing or talking or wherever, to the point now where my little daughter and her little sister, they have a relationship on a whole by themselves. They play together. When they leave each other, they hug each other, they tell each other bye. And to see my eldest daughter orchestrate that to the point where it wasn't, she have her family on this side, she have her family on this side, but to bring them together and to have her sisters and her being the leader to make sure that they all look out for each other. That was a very, very, very proud moment for me as a father, to see her showing that type of leadership from that young age, I mean, she have all lemonade and different stuff like that. I mean, I have a lot of proud moments from her. She's a very focused, driven child. Her mom was lucky to have her with me,
On that note, tell us about some proud moments.
Good, man.
I have a different twist.
Okay.
For me, being a competitor, I always wanted to have a proud moment for myself, so my children can see their father in that type of light, being that positive role, and sharing it with them, letting them be a part of it, let them see it, so that they'll have a role model to look up to, so that they'll know what greatness is about, what about striving to be the best at anything you do. So once I lead from the front, then I just cut a path for them. So now they see me in a good light, being positive, they want me positive. So I can't be a slouch and expect for them to make me proud. I got to be the leader as the father, so that they can follow the path. So when they come into their own and they have their proud moment, like they walk across the stage and get their diploma, I'm there, I'm proud, we know what it feels like. You understand what I'm saying? So for me, I had to lead the way as the father and the man of the house, so I could show my boys how to be men and how to achieve greatness in anything you do.
Absolutely. So you put the onus on yourself.
I put it on my back, and I lead from the front. And I see a lot of men, they lead it from the side. They're not with the children's mother, and in the back, or they're absent, and they are only hurting the children, not the woman. But as the man outside of the core home, I got to be the leader of the pack, because I'm the man. And I want my children, my boys, to see what it is to be a leader and my daughter to know how to follow a leader. See, if she were a guy and he ain't leading and providing a way.
It's a red flag for her. She knows automatically.
Because you saw your father do it. He never disrespected her mother, never swear at her mother, none of that. So, my daughter would say, Monet, let me call her name, because she thought I was like a nerd. Because when I got to her, I was just clean, squeaky clean. Wow. When you go out, you're a little different.
She's seeing now.
But she's seeing now. Yeah. But when it came to her time, I was a nerd. My father, he's soft. But that's why I wanted to create her time. Yeah, gotcha. But in essence, if she have a boyfriend, she have a boyfriend now, you know from your father what this man's supposed to be doing.
Understood.
And it ain't just financial. For money and everything. Time is also important. That's what I could share with a young brother. So.
Amazing. Rodney?
For me, I listen, and it's a graduation. 10 months, 10 years, 25 years at the highest peak. And I think I felt myself in everything that each of these gentlemen said. From the time Tasia, first oldest one, born, and I was there with a videotape and saw her coming out, and brightest colors I've ever seen in my life coming out, purples and reds and yellows, and I was sitting there, and this chick comes there. I was there. I didn't pass out like other people. So I got his moment. That was a proud moment for me. Seeing the leadership skills of my daughter, my son coming up and crossing the stage, Tasia, finishing high school despite challenging times because we had the hurricanes had passed. Tasia had to go to live in less than ideal circumstances in New York and then go to Florida, and she finally graduated high school, going up there and seeing her cross this stage, not with her friends where she was comfortable, but in an uncomfortable situation, still high marks. Her now being in college. My son graduating valedictorian from primary school. So there are those like defining moments. And then it is, for me now, the absence of negative. What my children are becoming, watching to see who my daughter is. I guess most fathers, you ain't necessarily happy with who you have as your boyfriend or whatever the case may be, but nonetheless knowing who she is, I'm comfortable in who she is. That even though I might not be the happiest with who she with, her little boyfriend, I know who my daughter is. And that gives me all the confidence in the world.
Because your confidence is in her.
My confidence is in her.
And what you planted.
And what I've planted and who she's become. My son plays a lot of basketball. He's, one of the preferred players in his age group, that 14-year-old age group. He's the big dog, I guess, on the court. And watching his leadership. Hold that down, don't argue with the umpire, the referee, or whatever. And I'm looking at him, but when he's around me, quiet, humble dude, like, you know not to mess around with daddy. But then I hear the stories about how vocal he is. And, this is what he wants. And this is all. And I'm like, okay, they're going to be all right. And so even if I'm not in this world, that's a hard one to think about. But if I'm not in this world a year from today, I am confident that my kids, because of the seed that was planted, they're going to be okay. And for me, that's the proud moment. They haven't fallen, daughter ain't pregnant yet. Please don't. Please don't. Please, knock on some wood. Everybody knock on some wood around here. Hasn't fallen into some of the traps that some of our young folks, regardless of their background, regardless of whether they grew up in high society family or a family that is struggling to provide, we all fall into traps. And I think the proud moment for me, time now for me, is at 20 and 14, so far they have not fallen into that trap. And I know that if I leave this earth, my kid's going to be okay.
Well said. I'm so happy, Rodney, that you brought up falling into traps and making mistakes, because as parents, I think persons sometimes forget that our children are human. They make mistakes the same way we make mistakes, continue to make mistakes, or would have. They too are not exempt for that. And there should never be a loss of love. There should never be a loss of affection. The confidence that you planted, each of you, be it 10 months and above, the confidence is exactly what you need to hold on to. And I want to thank you fellows so much for your presence here today, your authenticity. A lot has been said, a lot continues to be said about fatherhood and absence, but you're looking at presence. Okay? A lot has been said, a lot continues to be said about absence, but today, on this Father's Day, you are looking at presence. All right? You gonna cheers to that?
We're gonna have a cheers.
We're gonna
I
cheers to
don't
that.
mind. We're gonna have a little.
I want to thank you fellas so much. Happy Father's Day to each and every one of you. God bless you. God bless you and our offsprings. I want to cheers to not only Father's Day, I want to cheers to the presence that we see here today and the presence that should be represented in our community, because essentially we're raising a generation of greatness. Cheers.
Fathers are forever.
Fathers are forever.
Absence, not present. Presence, not absent.
Presence,
I
not
love
absence.
it. I
Hey,
love
look,
it.
Flem Jr., Nefty, Monet. I gotta give them that plug.
Go ahead.
I can't. I won't be able to live that down. I love you guys. Love you kids. Love my kids.